2 weeks ago, I made a post asking for your Miraculous Ladybug hot takes, and it got 800 comments. I went through every single comment and pulled out the most scorching takes. If you don't get featured, then I'm sorry, but if this video gets 1,000 likes, then I'll do a part 2. Comment your hot take on this video to maybe be featured in part 2. Also, I will be saying a lot of crazy things in this video, and it is heavily exaggerated. There will be jokes, sarcasm, and playful insults. I may sound rude, but it is all jokes, okay? Now, let's get on to the hot takes. I'm going to start the video with what was the most common hot take commented under that post, and it being in some way, shape, or form the following: CatBlanco sucked. I'm not going to spend too much time on this take because while it is a hot take, it's not a very good take. So to anybody who did comment that, this is what you Next take is by Misha, who says Markaniel is an overrated ship. By the way, the text at the bottom is what happens when you reach the bottom of a comment section. I really did read every comment, and this is a good take to start on. Markaniel is unbelievably overrated because it's so boring and for some reason is really well liked, even though the episode that introduced Mark is one of my least favorite in the entire show. Reverser gives me so much secondhand embarrassment that I can't rewatch it. And when I was catching up on Miraculous and I watched The Ruler for the first time, I thought it was such a slog fest. Seriously, it wasn't good, but people glaze it for some reason. I wholeheartedly agree, and this is a good take. The next take is by Elementi, who just gives their ranking of the seasons, and good golly, Miss Molly, is this ranking a travesty. Season 2 in the #1 spot isn't that bad because it's one of the most solid seasons in Miraculous, but Season 5 at #2 is batshit insane. Season 5 is an incoherent mess that I will further discuss later in the video. Also, Season 4 at the end, critical retrospective, please cover your eyes because what the fuck? It's crazy because you shot straight 50% from the field. Seasons 2, 3, and 6 all have pretty accurate placements, but 5, 4, and 1 do not. This is a bad take. Hackett says Heroes Day is overrated. It's just the least bad out of the finales. Hackett, please tell me you're not dead ass. Miraculous is infamous for being shit at endings. Volpino was the birth of poor writing for smart characters. Miracle Queen is... well, it's Miracle Queen. Come on, you can smell the dog shit coming from around the corner. Shadow Moth's final attack relies on luck and lore breaks, and the final day grabbed every Chekhov's gun that was established over the show and threw it away so Asterisk can continue to line his pockets. Heroes Day was the only finale that landed its punches. It has iconic shots, good action, good character moments, and it was a fun watch on top of all of that. It's not free of mistakes, but it also isn't the least bad, it's the most good. This is 100% a bad take. We're gonna change the pace here while I cover some hot take lists. These are comments that have a list of hot takes as opposed to their hottest take in one comment. Starting with Akimizu, who has some atrocities on here. Starting with Philogamy being more interesting than Adrianette. And to that I have to ask, did we watch the same show? A character intimates for having the social skills of a brick wall and a literal criminal who never even apologized, become a couple, and all of a sudden everybody in the Miraculous fandom's IQ dropped by 80 points. And I'm not even gonna read the last half of that because are you serious? Is this bait or stupidity? Call it, please. He also states that Chloe will never change, which is crazy because she was showing signs of changing. The fandom looks at that and says, go f yourself. Chloe absolutely was going to change, but Asterisk doesn't know how to write a regression arc, let alone a redemption arc. Rose claims that Adrianette is the worst canon ship, and to that I have to say, you think Adrianette is worse than Markaniel, Philogamy, Lucanette, Adragami, all 4 of which are canon or were canon ships that are all very much worse than Adrianette, but I digress. There's also a Lucanette shipper, which is something I will talk about later, so we'll skip that train wreck and move on to Arbora, who gives a few. Chloe being a better B Miraculous user would be true if Season 6 didn't exist. It's clear Vesperia is doing a better job. Marinette not being a good person is just blatantly false. She's literally a hero who saves lives on the daily. The craziest take here though is them saying that the power system, one notorious for being inconsistent, ill-explained, contrived, and having no parameters whatsoever, is a 10 out of 10? DC and Marvel must be in 1,000 out of 10 on your scale. And saying 0 out of 10 world building when we've had 4 specials take place outside of Paris, well, more like 3.5, with another 3 3 guaranteed to be coming is crazy. You can not like those, but that is world building, and they do a pretty good job, as poorly written as they can be at times. The Mega Gamer starts theirs with one that I agree with on all cylinders. The New York special is definitely overrated because most of the community rates it above a 0 out of 10, which means it is rated way too highly in my opinion. Season 3 being overrated and it being the worst season is crazy. Like seriously, worse than 5? What about 1? I know it didn't stick the landing, but it has some of the best episodes in the entire show. The ending should absolutely heavily skew the results of season 3, but it was low-key shooting like 2016 Steph Curry, and I can't fault it just because, like Steph, it didn't win in the end. The crazy thing is, the exact next take is one of the worst sentences I've ever heard. I've had insults and slurs hurled at me that brought less emotion out of me than this sentence. Stormy Weather 2 is a good episode and it's top tier in season 3. The Mega Gamer, if you see this, please comment your season 3 episode ranking on this video because I have to see what it looks like. What drugs are you on? Like seriously, what the fuck? They also said that the Chop Trio should be called the Three Stooges. I disagree, but I also don't like the name Chop Trio. I like the alliteration, but only one of them is actually chopped, so it's not entirely accurate. The last hot take list is from RxDNC, who really only gave one hot take that I haven't spoken about already. That being, Volpina is better than Rena Rouge. RxDNC, I must ask. How? Like seriously, how is she better? They have the same design, Rena's a better combatant, Alia's better written. Like the only thing Volpina has better than Rena Rouge is a better hero name. That is genuinely it. Now let's take the time to talk about ships. Starting with, I don't know, insert name here, who says Adrianette is genuinely so bad.
That's not ridiculous. That's not ridiculous to say that.
But only to an extent. I love Adrianette and I'm so happy it's here, but I agree that before we got it, it felt like heaven, and now that we do have it, it feels like hell. One of my hottest takes is that Adrianette shouldn't have gotten together in season 5. The Miraculous community is extremely impatient, but I watch actual TV and know that payoffs take time. Adrianette, the Lady Noir reveal, and the Cat Noir Hawkmoth reveal were 3 that I was willing to wait for, but one already happened, one will never happen, and one will only happen when the show is about to end. So I understand where the fandom is coming from, but this is a bad take. Otto says, hear me out, Lady Noir was not good, it was mid, and the reason it felt like chemistry was because of Cat Noir's pushing of it. Otto,
let me ask you something.
Did you watch the show with your eyes closed? Did you watch Evolution? How about Frightening Gale? Or Truth? Bafana? I don't know, maybe the goddamn pilot episode? Lady Noir did not feel like chemistry because of Cat Noir's flirting, it felt like chemistry because there was fucking chemistry. Moments where they help each other, where they act like a duo, where they genuinely bond, where they fight as one person. Did you even watch Glossiator? That ending scene is so fucking good and you're gonna call this shit mid? 0 out of 10 take and I will never hear you out on anything ever again. Violet and the Platypus Show are both Lucanet enjoyers, and to all Lucanet enjoyers, I have to know if you actually think this is a good ship or if you just want to date a nonchalant emo guy. This goes for any Agergami shippers, as few and far between as they come. Lucanet and Agergami were set up for failure. You rooting for these ships is the equivalent of wanting the pilot of the plane you are in to crash into the side of a mountain. I don't like either ship because they never really worked. I know both did happen at some point, but Adrian was clearly unsure of himself and Marinette never really loved Luca, and I will die on that hill. I will be disemboweled on that hill. They were poorly written and underwhelming ships meant to shake the boat of the love square, yet they both failed at their jobs, and that's why they lasted so little time. Peter Butler, who is the most prolific commenter on my channel, thank you by the way Peter, says Lucanet isn't as healthy as some people think it is, and that is the truest goddamn thing of all time. Lucanet is the equivalent of projection by fans and Luca glazing. But don't worry, we'll get to Luca hate further in the video. Miraculously Me is a Philigami shipper, and I've already made my stance on that ship clear in past videos, but I'll say it again. Felix is a horrendously written character, and Philigami shippers have to create lore in their heads to make the ship work. I'm glad you guys have a ship you love so much, but I will never understand the Philigami ship and why so many people jumped on it. Moving on from ships, we have Elementi again, who says season 4 is the worst season, but has the best finale.
That shit is a 2-pack of ass. The fuck are you talking about? That shit stinks.
It's crazy how you made 2 different statements in 11 words and they were both hot garbage. Let us talk about season 5 though, because there were a lot of people commenting that it was good or even the best season. But it's crazy because it was set up for failure from the beginning. Evolution, multiplication, and destruction were trashed classes in character misrepresentation, character assassination, and character motivation consistency. The Kwame choice was horrendous writing that showed the writers will do anything, even if it means means ruining other characters just to make sure Gabe loses when he should have won. And the only one who got close to a good take was Sarah, who said it wasn't that bad, which is false, but that it was because they crammed too much plot into one season, which is very true. A big problem with season 5 was that by the end of the season, they needed to be at point Z. But by the first episode of season 5, they already needed to be at point X in order to smoothly progress into point Z. But in reality, at episode 1, they were at point G, and they had to skip major developments, important plot points, and necessary character moments just to get to a point they were already supposed to be at. And come time for the finale, they did not deliver. Season 5 defenders, I respect that you are willing to die on that hill. I just don't think it's a good hill to die on. On the other hand, there are season 6 haters, and to you season 6 haters, you guys aren't invited to the cookout. Season 6 has been misfiring on all cylinders all season long, and I'm tired of people pretending like it isn't. I'm enjoying it because I love seeing new Miraculous episodes, but let's keep it a buck. It's been a terrible season despite the fact that consistency of the season and writing direction have both improved significantly. There have been like 4 good episodes maybe in the entire season. Meanwhile, the rest of the season has been either skippable, mid, or dog shit baking in the hot summer sun. I will always wish for more episodes because I love the show, but I have not been enjoying season 6 from a writing perspective. These 2 commenters hate the Miraculous movie, so they will receive a punishment that fits their crimes. The channel that exists for content says, Cat shouldn't have gone to New York and sell a force. He should have gone somewhere else like Toronto or Ottawa. Try to guess what country OP is from challenge, level impossible. He really pulled a...
3 Gläser.
The biggest self-report of all time. I get it, northern neighbor. I understand what you're talking about, and I low-key agree. I also think Cat Noir should have been somewhere new to further explore the world of Miraculous, but I promise you, Canada was not high up on my list. Like, personally, I want to see Istanbul, Rome, and then one in South America, but not Rio. I want one that incorporates Machu Picchu, since Ashrik loves to play God and alter history to fit his agenda. The next take is by a Critical Retrospective. He is also a Miraculous YouTuber who I've also collabed with, so please go subscribe to him. I'll have him linked in the description. He says season 3 isn't that bad. The finale is the worst part about it, and that colored the perception of the season overall. There were loads of good episodes, especially during the lead up to the finale, and that deserves to be remembered. I already covered this earlier, but I agree. Season 3 has phenomenal episodes like CatBlanco, Oblivio, and Ladybug. It also has episodes with moments that I love to rewatch like Star Trained Feast, Oni-chan, and Silencer. Season 3 is a powerhouse, and it shouldn't be thrown to the wolves just because Miracle Queen was so fucking bad. Blarman has a take about the animation and says that they don't understand why people want the old animation back. I've been planning on making a video about the animation of Miraculous Ladybug, but it can essentially be summarized into what I'm about to say. I like the old animation way more than the new one, even though the new animation is better. I'd be a blubbering buffoon if I said that the old animation was better, and that's not what I'm saying. Season 6 looks amazing, but that old shitty animation is miraculous to me. For example, Matt Groening, who made The Simpsons, said that he made them yellow because it stands out when you're channel surfing, and that dog shit quality of Miraculous is the same way to me. It's like Hoodwinked. If you haven't seen it, Hoodwinked is a retelling of Little Red Riding Hood, but it is genuinely batshit insane. One thing very noticeable about it is that it looks like utter dog shit. It looks so bad, but that's what gives it its charm. Miraculous Ladybug is bad animation. It is animation errors. It is pausing at random moments and seeing terribly rendered models. It was a character in and of itself, and I will miss it. I know the new animation looks really good, but if I had to pick a boat to go down on, I'm old animation all the way. But that doesn't mean the new school is all that bad. The next take is by Tohiro Inos, I think that's how you pronounce it, who is also a Miraculous YouTuber. He also makes some pretty good videos, so I'll have him linked down in the description as well. Go check him out and give him a sub. But he says the show lost the spark it used to have during seasons 1 to 3 and kinda 4, which is something I believe as well. I'm not being nostalgia blind when I say that those first 3 seasons just feel different to everything 4 and after. Matter of fact, I hate nostalgia. It's a coping mechanism used by those afraid to look life in the eye. But man, those seasons were just magical, and I don't think we will ever get that level of Miraculous back ever again. But hey, that's not such a bad thing. YouTube user says, Marinette is not a stalker. That is not a hot take. That is you lying to my face and calling it a hot take. These 2 comments are Luca haters, and I am on that bandwagon too. I hate Luca so much. He's a bland character. He brings nothing yet apparently holds so much importance. He's unbelievably annoying, and he just isn't respectable. People treat him like he made some sacrifice as if the guy isn't responsible for his own hardships. Xenomaster says Marinette is a well-executed Mary Sue character, which is just an oxymoron. Mary Sues are indicative of bad writing, and bad writing can only work in two cases: trashed pieces and comedies. Miraculous is neither. You can say you like Marinette as a Mary Sue, but to say that she's a well-executed Mary Sue is just spitting in the face of good writers. Speaking of writers, I want to highlight these two comments because I know who these people are. If Asterisk wasn't caught up in his past, he'd be one of the best modern writers. Miraculous plot holes have a lot of explanations, majority of you lack knowledge. Thomas Asterisk, get off your alt accounts and get the f out of my comment section. For starters, Asterisk could be one of the best modern story writers. Bro, Miraculous could iron out its kinks and he still wouldn't be top 1,000. I can name 50 modern writers better than Thomas Asterisk right now. Catch me in a drunken stupor and I could still give you 20. Ask me while I'm asleep, I could probably still give you 5. GCT, modern story writers is so broad that it includes nearly all mediums involving literature. That means you have to compete with writers like Aaron Sorkin, Quentin Tarantino, Vince Gilligan, David Chase, David Simon, George R.R. Martin, Moira Walley-Beckett, Peter Gould, Thomas Schnauz, Stephen King, Frank Darabont, J.K. Rowling, Robert Kirkman, and I could go on forever. And no, miraculous plot holes do not usually have explanations. They are usually prevalent and paradoxical. Not to mention, most of them don't get answered in the show, meaning that further damages Asterisk's credibility as a writer. Are we being for real right now? Kievar says, MLB's inconsistency isn't that bad, it's just made bad by the fandom. I wouldn't have noticed the problems with how the show writes time travel if it wasn't for the fandom. Don't get it wrong, there are many rules the show makes and then just forgets about, but it's about how easy it is to notice. Oh, brother. That doesn't mean the inconsistency isn't that bad, and the fandom just makes it bad. It means you have poor media literacy skills, and there's no problem with that. If you want to sit down and watch a show and just enjoy it for what it is, then be my guest. Matter of fact, I envy you because I nitpick too damn hard. But just because you don't pick up on the problems doesn't mean they're not prevalent. They are very glaring for those with the eyes and the willingness to see them. You seem to lack the latter, and honestly, I envy that. Next, let's talk about spin-offs. I saw a lot of comments about spin-offs, some saying Shadybug and Clown Noir need a spin-off, others saying Lady Dragon, and there is going to be a Stellar 4 spin-off. But the fact is that whenever someone says Miraculous needs a spin-off, I wholeheartedly disagree. Miraculous fans watch Miraculous for the characters. A spin-off with those types of fandoms only works when you make a spin-off about other established characters. It's why Better Call Saul worked, because Saul Goodman was an established character in a show that people watched for the characters. For Miraculous, the spin-off would have to be with a character like Luca, Nino, or as much as I would hate it, Felix. If Miraculous fans watched because of the world of Miraculous, then you could make spin-offs like Lady Dragon or Into the Reverse. It's why Game of Thrones had 2 very successful spin-offs, because while they loved the characters in Game of Thrones, fans mostly tuned in for the gripping politics, expansive world, and the game every character played for the Iron Throne of Westeros. Change the characters but keep the mind games, fantasy elements, and politics, and you get 2 successful spin-offs. That just wouldn't work for Miraculous because, as much as I hate to admit it, Miraculous is carried by the Love Square. Isn't it pretty weird that Miraculous has seen a massive dip in popularity since the Love Square was canned? Well, there were also other problems like massive hiatuses, the controversial animation change, and confusing plot decisions, just to name a few, but the Love Square being squashed is up there. It was also kind of a double-edged sword, as it carries the show, yet people want to see it be resolved and get an identity reveal, but don't expect that happening within the next decade. Brody says, El Toro de Piedra was a messy, rushed, overrated as hell episode. Brody, you are speaking my language. I'll keep it short since I already hated on season 6 earlier, but El Toro de Piedra is a low light of season 6. That awful song playing over the fight scene, the superficial character dynamics, and overall boring plot made for an episode that a lot of people loved, but one that I just couldn't get behind. I do want to see more character specific episodes, but out of all that we've gotten in season 6, I've only really liked Daddy Cop, which is crazy because even though I like the episode, it's not really that good. George says, Thomas should stop trying to explain everything. Examples given, quantum masking, presence of commies when it comes to technology. And to you, George, I have to say something. You must have hated English class. I love literature, and it's clear George here hates exposition and a world establishing rules. But this is a necessary part of all worlds. Imagine if Star Wars never told you what the Force was, or if Sherlock never explained his thought process. He just solved cases by walking into a room, pointing his finger, and leaving. You have to establish how a world works, establish why characters and presences are able to do what they do, and stay consistent with those rules. While Miraculous is a very crude way of explaining things in the lore, that can most mostly be explained by it being a kid show, but this is very necessary for every story, including those in a kid show. Grab any cohesive kids show, i.e. Adventure Time, regular show, Gumball, Avatar, etc., and they have established rules and regulations. Miraculous has those, and honestly, it fails to explain a lot. This is a bad take. I put Homeboy in here because there's always that one guy who says, am I the only one who liked Miracle Queen? Yes bro, you are. Miracle Queen was trash. Like it as much as you want, the episode is a travesty. And lastly, I'm going to end this off with one of the more realistic, scorching takes. Shadow Rider says that confirming Senti Theory was a bad idea, and I am complete and agreeable on this. Senti Theory essentially destroyed my trust in the writing team, because if they're willing to retcon and actively alter plans just to fit a popular fan theory this time, who's not to say that they won't do it again in the future? It shows the priority the writers have with the direction of the show instead of calculated and smart writing. They choose fandom hits and hype moments. It's not something I want more than good writing. Shadow Rider, this is the best take. 1,000 likes if you want a part 2, and comment your hot take if you want to be featured in part 2. Follow me on my socials, like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next week.